Hi there, I'm Steffen from Obscura. I'm running the band since 2002. We have six studio albums out right now. We are touring the world since I don't know how many years. I mean, we played probably 900 or 1,000 shows so far. We cover almost everything on this planet, and we are talking about our new record, A Sonication, right now. This is studio album number 7 and should be out in early February.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for joining us from the back of your luxurious tour van today.
My pleasure.
So, as you say, A Sonication will be out on February the 7th, mate. So, it's, as you say, the seventh studio album from Obscura. So, how are you feeling about it?
I'm really looking forward to drop this record. It was a long, long way to assemble the entire thing, and of course, when you deliver the masters, and that's what we did in summer, you just wait eagerly on the release to get the vinyl and the CD in your hand the very first time. So it's definitely like a new baby, a new son that gets born. But I'm really looking forward for the album. I'm very proud of it, and I think the songs are quite strong.
Can you tell us a bit more from a musical point of view and what you were going for with the album?
Oh, well, the entire musical part of the record is a certain different pace. So it's more like I would call it an introverted, more melancholic vibe that shows, and that's underlined with the production. Since we worked less direct. In the past, we always had one guitar left, one guitar right. It was very, very complicated at times. But on the new album, I was working with more like a wall of sound concept. So that means there are layers and layers and layers of different melodies packed and stacked on each other, and that gives you a completely different vibe. So it's one of those records, if you listen to it like 10, 20 times, you pick up something new, a tiny little detail every now and then. And I would absolutely recommend to listen to it with like good headphones. And then you not only get the stereo left and right signal, but also the depth and field, which is very, very cool. I think Freddie Nordstrom did a fantastic job producing the record. And the music is just a storytelling from front to end. It's one of those records you definitely can listen to from the first note until the last, and you are not getting bored. I love it very much. I think it's a
Are you back?
ah,
Yeah, cool.
you're
So,
back.
so you've released the singles Silver Linings and Everfall so far. So, are they a good sonic representation of what you expect from the whole album?
Well, Silver Linings, yes. Silver Linings is we choose this song because first of all, it's the opening track of the album, and second, I think the vibe is pretty much what goes along through the entire record. It's quite a freshy, blast beaty song with an up-tempo feel. It's somehow it comes across a little bit like laid back at sometimes, and the devil is in the details. So if you listen to especially the pre-chorus, the chorus, what happens in the background with all of those space choirs, with the synths and everything, and that's definitely leading towards what we did on the whole album. Even Fall is a little bit different. We put it out on purpose to be a little bit more controversial. That's something similar we did on the previous album when we had a song with guest vocalist Björn Stritt from Soilwork, which was more like a power metal ballad with blast beats. So we always want to tease our fans, and it's quite curious how people think about we are now doing Swedish melodic death metal. No, but once we put out the entire record, you can be assured it's a classic Obscura record because we are a death metal band to the core, and we will always be. But it's always fun to tease around.
Yeah, yeah. It's the second part of a conceptual trilogy started with A Valediction in 2021. So, firstly, tell us about the overall concept, and then secondly, how a sonication fits into the picture.
Well, we started this trilogy with A Valediction a couple of years ago. And speaking, I always like to see the visual part. If you just lean back, we have three albums. A Sonication is the middle one. We start with A Valediction, which is the bronze one, A Sonication, the silver one, and the third one will be the golden one. And all of them are connected with the same cover artist, Liran Kantor, presenting the cover artworks. We also work with the same producer, Freddie Nordstrom, in Gothenburg in Studio Fredman. And lyrically, they're also connected to a certain degree. So A Valediction was meant to be like the farewell album to all the previous music we did in the past. There was a big like 4 album concept. So this is the start of a new beginning. A Sonication is more like the reflective part. And the next one, the golden one, is going to be a little bit of different. But I do not want to tease too much. But again, I love to see the big picture. If you just lean back and see the 3 albums, they're all connected on a visual, musically, production, and lyrical part.
Yeah. And did you write all 3 parts of the trilogy at the same time, or do you write them after the initial one comes out?
No, we write them like piece by piece by piece, but it's very cool to have some kind of a guideline. So somehow you know where you want to go, but it doesn't matter how you go there. So it's quite cool to prevent like running out of ideas. Some people have like writer's block or just don't know. They're a little bit, the compass is not working properly. And I'd rather work with those long-term album concepts or connected albums because it's very, very cool to blend ideas and mirror ideas back and forth. So it's just I can call it a guideline, but at the same time I have all the freedom I want to make the music I love. So it's the best of both worlds. So we pick the diamonds of both sides.
Nice. Now, you say the first 4 albums were conceptually linked as well. So when you play it live, do you have to play the songs in a chronological order to make sense, or can you still mix them up a bit?
Oh, we mix them up. I think if we play that in chronological order, that would be too much. No, but when we play live, we make sure we play at least one song of each album, also of the previous records. And we pick one song of the old records. So we don't pass by Australia too often. We don't pass by South America too often. And of course, there are people who love the band since or support the band since years. Some fans are there for, I don't know, more than 20 years already. And, for those people, of course, you need to play stuff from the early records as well. And it's fun to go back to dive into your past.
Now you mentioned you're Australian fans. Like I see you've already got tours planned to Europe, North America, and Asia this year. Like, Australia's just not far below Asia, eh?
I still have a jet lag from the last time I've been in Australia. See this? No, but I'm then serious. I would love to come back. The last time we played Sydney and Melbourne with 2 shows, and before that, I think 2018 or 19, we played a couple of more shows. It's a long, long way to Australia, and the next time I'm coming down, I would love to play more than only 1 or 2 shows. So we are working on a proper tour, not only to cover like the big cities, but also Adelaide and Perth, and I hope we can also hop over to your neighbors in New Zealand for 1 or 2 shows and work on something properly. That would be lovely, and that's what we're working on.
Good. Now, bit of the history about the band, mate. Like you started Obscura back in 2002. So what was the musical climate like back then that gave birth to the band, and where did you fit in initially?
Well, we started like all other bands on the planet as well. We've been friends, and we loved so many albums, and at some point we wanted to make music on our own. So I was 16 when I picked up a guitar, and a couple of months later, founded Obscura, and this is still my first band. So at the time, the music we started to play was not popular at all. Absolutely not. So all of those bands we've been looking up to have been inactive, like Death, Cynic, Atheist, Pestilence. All of those bands have been gone. Nocturnus, all of those bands are gone. So we thought about, well, let's try. uh, let's make our own music in that early 90s death metal style. And then later on, we just elaborated a little bit. With every album, with every concert, you get a little bit more experience as a musician, as a live player, as a studio musician. And it turned out to be a little bit more prog, a little bit more technical, album by album by album. So to come back to your question, I think in the early days, we did the same as we didn't do right now. We just play the music we love and we want to do.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you have changed a little bit over every album musically. Like, was that a planned progression, or is that more just it sort of happens naturally from album to album?
I think you cannot plan 20 years in advance, to be honest.
That's very
But
true.
somehow it's also a matter of what kind of music you listen to at the moment, and what influences you, and in what kind of state you are with your life. We all get older. There are families coming across. There are changes in life. Sometimes you move to a different city or a different country, and to a certain degree, that influences your sound as well. And I'm doing what I love, and I'm not sure in which regard it might change to a certain sense on the next album. I don't know, but that's open. You don't have to plan everything, but it's nice to have those guidelines, as I mentioned before.
Very nice. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. A Sonication is out February the 7th. It's the middle of a trilogy chapter concept series. So have a crack at it, mate, and you take care.
Thank you, Kris. It was a pleasure talking to you.